second video, we are going to be talking about the sphere. So have a look at these pictures. So we've been talking about the cone and cylinder, right? That the main point of this lesson is we need to focus on the relationship between the sphere and cone and cylinder. So first, we'll be talking about the volume of a sphere. So here we've got a cone and then we've got cylinder. And then the most important thing about these three shapes is they have a same base. Look, so have a look at the base of the cone and base of cylinder. It's exactly the same. And then also sphere, you don't have a base. But if you just cut it in half, then the cross section will be with circle, and that is exactly the same size with the base of cone and cylinder. So now I try to put the cone inside the cylinder and they fit exactly. Base is the same and also height is exactly the same. They're sharing the base and height. And then now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the sphere inside the cylinder as well. Then now try to put it in. That is perfectly fit in. Now it's fit into the cylinder in terms of the height. So as you can see, then the cylinder is the biggest one, then the cone is the smallest one, and as you can see, always focus on the sphere because we are going to be talking about sphere. Sphere is just bigger than the cone, but smaller than the cylinder, right? So now let's finding out the ratio of the volume of cone and sphere and cylinder. So have a look at it. That what we noticed that we already know that the cone is 1/3 of the cylinder. That's what we've been talking about in the previous lesson, right? So let's say the cylinder is 1, then we know that, as you can see that the formula is 1/3. Then how about the sphere? We noticed the sphere is bigger than the cone and smaller than the cylinder. Then I'm going to say it's 2/3 of the volume of the cylinder. So look at this one. So we've got a ratio of the cone and sphere and cylinder. Then make sure their heights are same. Heights are all the same. Then their radius of the base is all the same. Then since we've got a ratio, I don't want to see the fraction in our ratio, right? Let's make them into the whole number, the integers. So what we need to do is, times 3 to all of the part that we can get the integers. Then our new ratio with the whole number will be 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. So we clearly know that the ratio of volume of cone, sphere, cylinder will be 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. So use this ratio and we are going to find out the formula for the sphere. So just make sure our focus is the sphere. Using the cone and cylinder, we will be finding out the formula for the sphere. So here, as I highlighted that, the ratio will be 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. Then now, here the cone is 1. What we can see is the twice of the volume of the cone will be sphere, and then 3 times of the volume of the cone will be cylinder. So let's use a cone to find out the formula for the sphere. So as I already tell you that h, they have the same height, right? So all 3 shapes has the same height, but it's not very good to have 2 unknowns. So since R is unknown, we don't really need to have another unknown h. So let's change h as to R. Why this is working? Because as you notice that all 3 shapes has the same height. Then what does it mean by height of the sphere? Yes, right, that's diameter, right? So instead of h, I'm going to use 2R. That now use 2R to change our formula. It's 1/3 pi r squared h, but I'm going to put the 2r. Then now let's simplify it. Then we can say the volume of a cone will be turned into 2/3 pi r cubed, right? So now this is just for, helping to finding out the formula for the sphere, okay? That now what we notice is the sphere is just 2 lots of this 2/3 pi r cube, right? So just need to times 2. That will be 2 times 2/3 pi r cube. And the cylinder is a 3 times 2 pi r cube over 3, right? Then now we just, change this expression back as a formula for the cone and cylinder. That's, we already know that h is a 2r. Instead of a 2r, let's put h, say 1/3 pi r, then 2r. Instead of 2r, let's put h, so 1/3 pi r h. That's the formula for the cone. We already know that now. In this video, we're focusing on the sphere, right? So let's put that if you calculate this 4/3 pi r cube, that we know that we don't need to have a h because sphere doesn't have a h. We got, instead of h, we got the diameter, right? Then now, using the formula for cone, that we figured out, we're finally finding out the formula for the sphere. So now make sure it's r cubed. Then now cylinder, as you already noticed that instead of 2r, let's put h back. Then that will be pi r squared h. Pi r squared h. Okay, so now finally we've got our formulas for the sphere. Just remember this. Now you understand how we got a formula for the volume of the sphere. Since you understand it, then please memorize it. Now let's try the question here. So remember the 4/3 pi r cubed. So that is the formula for the volume of sphere. Then now what we need to do is finding out the r. Then now, as you can see, r is 3 meters, so 4/3 times pi, and then r cubic, so r cubed will be 3 times 3 times 3. Then we can simplify that what we have is a 4 times 9 pi, that is 36 pi, and then use your, so now check your units, it's cubic meter, so 36 pi cubic meter. Next one. Right, so now what's this shape? Yes, it's a half of the sphere. This is called the hemisphere, right? We've got hemisphere, and then finding the volume of hemisphere will be, yes, right. We need to just, half the sphere, that we can find the volume of the hemisphere. So first of all, volume of sphere will be 4/3 pi r cubed. Then half of it, say, is the volume of a hemisphere is halving the volume of a sphere. So divide by 2, then we will get, so now half of it will be 2/3 pi r cubed. So this is the formula for the hemisphere. So just remember, if you remember it, it's going to be very convenient. So now after we finding out the formula for the hemisphere, volume of the hemisphere, then now let's calculate it. That we know that the r is a 27, so it's going to be big number. So 2/3 pi times, then 27 times 27 times 27. Then we simplify that. Now we've got 18 times 27 square pi. That now you've got a calculator, right? So use your calculator. That most of the volume and surface area of the sphere will be the calculator paper, so you can use a calculator. So now if you use your calculator, then your answer will be 13,122 pi. If you want, you can calculate pi as well, but just make sure you need to have your unit, it's a cubic centimeter. Now let's move on to the surface area of a sphere. Then now we've got orange, right? So let's pretend that the orange is a perfect sphere. Then what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to slice it into the half. Then now I will get the cross sections, right? So the cross section of the surface is a perfect circle, right? Then now I'm going to draw the circles. It's perfectly same size as the cross section of the orange. So now can you see the 4 circles, right? And now what I'm going to do is I peel the orange. Then now I chop the orange peel into really small pieces. Then rearrange these peels into these 4 circles. Then you know what happened? Look at this one. These peels are perfectly fitting into the 4 circles, right? Now from this experiment, what did you notice? What did you realize that? The orange peel is exactly the same as what? Yes, right, it's the surface area of the sphere. Then we realize that surface area of the sphere is the same as the 4 last of the area of the cross section, that is a circle, right? So let's have a look at this as the computer graphic. So if you use a computer, then we did same thing. Then it must be exact size, right? Then as you can see that the surface area of a circle, the surface area of a cylinder is exactly same as the 4 cross section of the surface area. So now, using this one, we can come up with our formulas for the surface area of the sphere. So we know that this circle is the cross sections of the orange, then that's pi squared, right? Pi squared, that we have we adding up all together, then that will be 4 pi squared. So now the formula for the surface area of a cylinder will be 4 pi r squared. So you know, the previous lesson and this lesson, we learned lots of formulas. Sometimes, you know, you could be mixed up all the formulas, but just remember surface of a sphere. Just, you know, think about the orange peel, and then you chop it into small pieces. Then you end up with the 4 circles. Yeah. Then now use this formula. Let's move on to the questions. Now here you've got a sphere, and then finding out surface area, then formula for the surface area. We know that is, now you remember, right? So 4 lots of cross section, that's cross section, right? Pi r squared. Then now, since you know the formula is going to be super easy, because just identify r, that's 9, then 4 times pi times, so 81, right? Then 4 times 81 pi will be, you don't need a calculator, right? It's 324 pi. Then make sure your unit is inch, that is area, that's why it's squared. So now 324 pi inch squared. Next one, again, surface area of the sphere, 4 pi r squared. Then so you can see the cross section, and then your r is a 5. So now it's 5 feet. Now 4 times pi times 5 squared will be 4 times 25 pi will be 100 pi. Then use your unit, that's a feet, so square feet. So 100 pi square feet will be your answer. Next one. Then now look at this one. Yes, right, this is the hemisphere. So now finding the volume of hemisphere was simple, because all you need to do is just divide by 2. But when it comes to the surface area of the hemisphere, we can come up with the 2 sections. So blue part, as you can notice, the blue part is just, you know, half of the surface area of the sphere, and the red part, yeah, don't forget to add up the red part, that's the cross section, right? Then now the surface area of the hemisphere will be adding both of sections, right? So the first blue part, so half of the surface area of the sphere will be 4 pi r squared, half of it will be 2 pi r squared. Then now blue part is a 2 pi r squared. Then now don't forget to add the red part. Red bit is cross section. You know that cross section is Yes, it's a pi r squared. We've got another pi r squared. Then it end up with 2 pi r squared. Add up the red part, pi r squared. Then now formula for the surface area of a hemisphere will be 3 pi r squared. So that's what you also understand, how we get the 3 pi r squared. That's why again we have a new formula here. So surface area of a hemisphere will be 3 pi r squared. That now again, I already said once you understand it, then memorize it please. Now, use this formula. Let's calculate the surface area of this hemisphere. So now 3 pi r is 3, right? So now what we need to do is just 3 times pi times 3 squared. That means that will be 3 cubed. That's 27, right? So 27 pi and centimeter squared. Square centimeter. Right, so now we've got another hemisphere. So now you know the formula for the surface area hemisphere. There's a 3 pi r squared, right? Because of the half of the hemisphere, that's a 2 pi r squared. And then the one of the cross section is a pi r squared. We add up together 3 pi r squared. That now it's going to be super easy, yeah? So r will be 50 squared. Then all we need to do is just calculating. Say the 15 squared will be 225. 225 times 3 pi. Then our final answer will be 675 pi. The unit will be square meter. Now let's organize all our formulas here. So we've got a cylinder, cone, sphere, and hemisphere. Let's talk about the volume of all these 4 shapes. Now, first of all, yes, base times height, pi r squared. So h, right? So then pi r squared h will be the volume of the cylinder, and then cone is always 1/3 of the cylinder, right? So 1/3 pi r squared h. Then now volume of sphere is, remember, this is 4/3 pi r cubed, not squared, okay? That's the important part. That now hemisphere is half of the sphere, so that will be 2/3 pi r cubed. Now let's move on to the surface area of all of those 4 shapes. So surface areas, you open up the shape, then you will come up with the 2 circles and then 1 rectangle, right? So it's pi, so circle will be pi r squared, so it's 2 pi r squared plus that your rectangle will be, the length will be, circumference is 2 pi r, then now simply times h, so 2 pi r h. Now you open up the shape, then you've got a curved surface area and then circle, right? So the circle part is pi r squared and curved is, remember you've got L, that's the slant height. That now adding pi r L, right? Then why is pi r L? We already talked about it. It's half of the circumference times the L, so pi r L, so 2 pi L times L, that you halving it. That now is come up with a pi r L, right? Then now sphere surface areas are, remember the orange, right? So we can come up with the 4 circles, 4 cross sections. That will be 4 pi r squared. Then last one is the surface area hemisphere. Half of the surface area of the sphere is a 2 pi r squared. Then remember you've got one more cross section. That's pi r squared, so it's 3 pi r squared is the formula. Right, so this is the end of the video. Please make sure you memorize all the formulas. You confidently tell me the formulas for the volume and surface area, any of these 4 shapes. Then now, once you're very confident about all of these formulas, we can move on to the challenging questions. So now I will see you with the challenging questions. Make sure you remember the formula. Bye!